Hello FPL managers and welcome back for another video. My name is Jack and today we're discussing the buy hold sell for double Gameweek 29. If you guys are looking forward to more FPL videos, drop a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Also, to make sure you stay up to date with all of the future FPL videos in the build up to double Gameweek 29, plus all videos regarding more doubles and blanks coming up in the remainder of the season. Have those notification bells turned on, and with that being said, let's jump into the video. So first of all, let's have a look at three buy options. I wanted to go with three players here that don't have a massive ownership currently, and also players that haven't been hugely transferred in coming to double Gameweek 29, but still some good options to consider for the team. The first one here is James Maddison, and there is quite a bit of hype building around him coming into double Gameweek 29 and for the remainder of the season, just because Leicester have such good fixtures. They've got a really good double Gameweek this week. Crystal Palace away and Aston Villa at home is probably one of the best double Gameweeks any team has this week. It'd probably be between Leicester and Brighton. I think Leicester's attack should do very well in these two fixtures. Also, the good thing with those Leicester fixtures is that they do play in blank Gameweek 32, whereas a couple of other popular midfielders such as those Brighton lads, March, Matoma, McAllister as well, also Rashford, all blank in Gameweek 32, whereas Maddison does play in this week, which does of course increase his appeal. So I think James Maddison a really good option to consider for the teams. 8.2 should be fairly affordable, as a lot of managers do already have a fair amount of money saved up in the bank recently, as it seems there has been a reduction in the amount of premiums that managers do have in their sides. So I think James Maddison at this price point, a really good option. His ownership is still less than 10%. He's put up some pretty good stats this season, 9 goals and 6 assists. He has significantly outperformed his expected numbers though, an XG of just above 4, yet he has scored 9 goals, so obviously an extremely clinical finisher, which is of course what you want for your FPL assets. His XA of just over 4 as well has also been significantly outperformed, as he's picked up 6 assists this season, so perhaps a bit fortunate to have more goals and assists than he should have, but I think Maddison's still a really good option to consider. A good predicted points for Gameweek 29 of 8.2, so a nice option to have in the team. Solly March as well, another really good Brighton asset. He's coming in at 5.1, a pretty similar ownership to Maddison at 9.5, and I think a really good alternative to the popular Matoma and also McAllister as well. Brighton of course have great fixtures, Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, two very strong fixtures from an attacking perspective. Obviously, Matoma already a very popular option and with good reason, but I think Solly March a real option to consider as well. If you don't already have him in the team, really look to get him in the side. Such a cheap price at 5.1, 6 goals and 6 assists this year, with an XG of pretty decent tally of 6.64. Also a 5.56 XA figure is fairly strong. He does have the highest predicted points for Gameweek 29 out of any player by Fantasy Football Fix with 9.2, and that is because he has been putting out better underlying numbers per 90 than Matoma this season. He's also registered more shots in the last 5 Gameweeks than Matoma, so I think March a good option to have in the teams at just 5.1, a great alternative to some of those other popular Brighton midfielders. And Mo Salah as well, another premium that I think should come into favour quite a bit, especially after Liverpool had that double Gameweek announced in Gameweek 34. That really does increase the value of their assets in my opinion. I think Salah is such a good option to have on the sides now, especially ahead of a strong double Gameweek 29 for Liverpool. Manchester City and Chelsea, whilst not being the easiest fixtures individually, when combined into a double game, we could see Salah produce quite decent returns, and that is why not only does he have a good predicted points this week of 8.6, which is amongst some of the highest predicted players for Game Week 29, but he also has the highest predicted points across the next 6 game weeks by Fantasy Football Fix. Of course, after the announcement of that extra Liverpool double game week in Game Week 34, he's expected to score very well for the remainder of the season. So I think Mo Salah will be a very strong premium asset, especially amongst midfield premiums. If you've got KDB, if you've got Son, definitely look to move out those players for Salah, as I think a lot of managers should easily be able to afford triple premiums in their team for the remainder of the season after a lot of squad value has been built up. So I really like Mo Salah as a premium asset as well. Next up, let's have a look at the hold picks. These are players that have been fairly heavily transferred out by managers coming to double Gameweek 29, but I would recommend that you guys hold on to. Ivan Toney, here's the first one. It's a bit surprising to see managers transfer him out. He did blank in his most recent game, but I don't think that's good enough reason to get him out of the sides. He's got Brighton and Manchester United as his double in Gameweek 29. He's put up 16 goals, 4 assists on the season. He's been superb all year long. A very, very high XG of 16.63. A figure which is actually higher than Harry Kane's, despite being around £4 million less than Harry Kane. His ownership is also very, very strong, so by not having him in the side, you take a massive risk of a lot of other FPL managers getting points that you aren't going to be receiving. He's also got a very good predicted points for double Gameweek 29 of 8.1, so if you are thinking about selling Toney, definitely hold on to him. I don't see why you want to get rid of Toney, one of the best forwards you can have in FPL right now. Also, Bukayo Saka and Harry Kane, two single gaming players that I wanted to touch on. I have seen a lot of people looking to get rid of Saka in their transfer plans just because he has a single game week of Leeds at home. I wouldn't even look to get a double game week play in for Saka, as Leeds at home is definitely a fixture where Saka will probably outscore a lot of other double game week midfielders, in my opinion. After coming off 18 points last week in FPL, I'm sure he's going to be looking to build on this even further against a fairly weak Leeds defence. Arsenal obviously at the Emirates as well are a very, very strong attacking outfit. So for me, absolutely no reason to be getting rid of Bukayo Saka. Yes, Arsenal don't have a massive amount of double game weeks the rest of the season, and they're mostly single game weeks, but I think they still have very, very strong assets in the team, and I think Saka will still outscore a lot of midfielders that are doubling this week and in future game weeks as well. He's had really good stats this season, 12 goals, 11 assists, one of the highest goal involvements tallies of any player so far this season in the Premier League. Also pretty good underlying numbers as well with an XG of over 8. He's got a strong predicted points for Gameweek 29 of nearly 7, which is pretty much on par with a lot of those other double gaming midfielders, whether it's those Brighton assets or Manchester United assets, also Bruno Fernandes. I think Saka is probably still the stronger option. Harry Kane also, another single gaming player that's been transferred up by managers. I don't see why you'd be looking to do this. He's been in such good touch recently for Tottenham, and you should be able to afford triple premiums now with Haaland, Kane and Salah. Maybe if you want to get rid of Haaland, that's an option you could go for if he's still unfit for his Game Week 29 fixture, but Harry Kane, definitely not a player that I'd be getting out of the side. For me, despite Tottenham having single game weeks for the rest of the season, they still have very, very good fixtures. Kane's put up 21 goals this year. He could potentially beat his Premier League record goal tally in a season. He's also combined this with 6 assists with a very strong XG figure of 15.5. There's absolutely no reason to be getting rid of Harry Kane, in my opinion, because if you're looking at other forward options, there are going to be a lot of players that aren't premium assets that are a bit cheaper that have double game weeks, whether that's Watkins, Toney. There are a couple of options that I've seen people replace Kane with. I still think Kane's a very strong option, and using a transfer to get out Kane for a double game week player, in my opinion, is just not worth it coming into double game week 29. So with those buy and hold options in mind, let's discuss some sell picks. Kevin De Bruyne is the first one here. He's got Liverpool at home in Game Week 29. Not the strongest fixture from a double game week perspective, and I'm just not too sure about De Bruyne's minutes for the remainder of the season, especially with the Champions League ramping up for Manchester City as they progress towards the final stages of the tournament. De Bruyne's consistency in minutes just hasn't been there recently, as in the last 4 FPL game weeks, he's only produced 6 FPL points, only started 2 of those games, didn't feature at all in one of them, played 11 minutes in the other, and then got subbed off after 63 minutes in one of the games that he started. So for me, if you're paying £12 million for a midfielder, you need them to be playing nearly 90 minutes every single game, and De Bruyne just can't provide that right now. Also, he's not a massive goal threat. Yes, he picks up lots of assists, but an XG of just 3.43 this season for a player price at 12 million definitely is not worth it in my opinion. Also, Man City don't have the easiest fixtures coming out. They also do blank in Game Week 32, so for that reason, I would be looking towards other midfield premiums, whether that's Mo Salah or look to drop him down to a double gaming midfielder, whether that's Maddison. He could be a really good pick, as mentioned on the buy list. Those Brighton assets are good as well. There's Arsenal assets are good as well. Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, 3 really good single gaming options to consider. So for me, De Bruyne just isn't a good midfield premium. Even though that Man City double did get announced later on in the season, I still don't think he's worth it. you can look to bring him back in closer to that double game week period, but for now, De Bruyne is a sell for me. In a similar boat is Heung-min Son. I did say to hold into Harry Kane, his Spurs teammate, because they have good fixtures. Obviously, Son still has some pretty good fixtures, but his underlying numbers aren't there. At £11.7 million, just a 6 XG and a XA of around 3 is just not high enough in terms of value for money for Heung-min Son, in my opinion. Once again, Salah's a better option, or you can go for any of those other double game week or strong single game week midfielder assets, as there are so many good midfielder options in FPL this season that I just think Son and De Bruyne are two players not worth it for their price tag. And Mitrovic also a fairly obvious one as well at 6.6. He did pick up that extended suspension just recently. Well, he's not going to be back till the 22nd of April, so obviously he's also a good sell option there. Quite frustrating for managers that did keep faith in him and hold him through his blank game week last week, but he is going to be missing out for quite some time. He did have some pretty good fixtures lined up. Bournemouth away in game week 29 was pretty good, and he had some decent underlying numbers this season as well, with an XG of over 11. He also did produce 11 goals already, so it would have been a decent pick had he been playing, but after the news that he's not going to be back until the 22nd of April, he is also a good sell option. Thanks for watching today's buy, hold, sell for double game week 29. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel and pushes the video out to more people. Also, if you guys don't want to miss any future FPL videos, have those notification bells turned on, as there's going to be so much more FPL content in the build up to double game week 29, plus the remainder of the busy fixture schedule in the FPL season. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.